Welcome to the smeSpire Best Practice Catalog web application. In this tutorial you will be shown how to add a new practice to the catalog. The web application can be found in internet on www.best-practice.smeSpire.eu. In order to add a new practice, a user must be registered within the smeSpire database. Now, as we are on the front page of the web application, I will log in. I press on the login hyperlink and write down my username and password. You can check the Remember Me option if you want to be automatically logged in the next time you use the application. As a registered and logged in user, the navigation bar changes with some additional buttons. To add a new practice, we click on the Add Practice button. The adding of a practice is done by a step-by-step wizard which enables the user to focus on certain aspects of the practice. Moreover, the adding can be paused on a certain step and resumed later before publishing. The first step is for providing the main information for a practice, its title, a detailed description and relevant keywords. When a user searches for a practice, these fields will be searched. When we are ready, we click on the Save and Proceed to Next Step button. Now we will add some data in the fields. You can see that this panel shows the progress of providing information of a new practice. Moreover, you can easily navigate to a certain step by the hyperlinks here. Now let's have a look at the second step. Here we provide resources for our practice, either some files for download or some web links. In order to proceed with the other phases of the adding, you must provide at least one file or web link which is written down here in red. To add a new file, click on the Add File button. A dialog window for uploading is shown. Here, in its top right corner, you can read useful information about adding files. The number of files which you can upload, which is 5 at the moment. Next to it, in brackets, is shown the number of files that had been already added. Then you see the maximum allowed size per file. Now it is 20 megabytes. And below are listed the accepted file types. You can add JPG or PNG images, PDF documents or zip and RAR archives. We click on the Browse File button and show the location of a file on our computer. Then, optionally, we can write a brief description of the file, what it contains, etc. And we click on the Save button. To add a new web link, we click on the Add Link button. In this dialog, you write or copy and paste the link, more precisely URL, of the online resource. Again, we have an optional field for description of the resource. Note that there is no need to write HTTP in front of the URL, as the system will do this automatically. Then we can proceed to the next step, co-authors. Of course, we can go back to the other steps if we want to edit or add something else, but back to the co-authors. You can see your company as a main author. If you are not the only author of the presented practice, here you can add the other ones. we click on the Manage Co-Authors button, and then a dialog window is loaded. It contains all the companies within the smeSpire database, and you can choose your co-author amongst them. If your practice partner is not registered in the database, you can add his or her name as a text below from the list of SMEs. You see the text here. If there are more than one co-authors who are not members of the smeSpire database, write each one on a separate line. So I will write author 1 and a second line for author 2. We press the save button, and now we see that the listed co-authors are 1 from the smeSpire database and 2 which we wrote as free text. Of course, if you are the only author of the practice, just skip this step. And now we can continue by pressing the button Proceed to next step. Fourth step, classification, helps us to categorize our practice using different code lists. Later, users can filter the catalog through these terms. The categories are shown and there is a plus sign before each of them to show the corresponding code lists. You can choose the categories for classifying your practice. Most of the categories are lists with options, and you have to check the most appropriate for your practice. For example, we want to specify Inspire and SDI related activities. We expand the section for this category and click on the Manage Inspire and SDI related activities button. Each category has such a button, in fact. In the dialog, we check the appropriate options and save our choice. You see that these options are now checked. In another category, implementation types, we describe what our practice is actually implementing. For example, it is a project and we write its acronym and title and optionally link and description. Now we will add some data in the fields. You can add another implementation type by clicking again on the Add Implementation Type button, or we can edit or delete an implementation type using these icons here. License types and description contains the legal information about the practice. You can choose between the provided commonly used license types and even provide more information via free text. Within customers, you can list some of the customers of the implementation of the practice. For each one, we click on the Add Customer button and we provide information in the dialog. We choose a type of our customer and write its name. We can put as many customers as we like, and of course we can edit or delete any customers that we've already added. And in practice development metadata, you can share some useful information about the development process of the practice, approximate budget, number of people involved in development, and the duration of the development phase. When you consider you are ready with the adding of information about a practice, you can publish it and make it visible in the catalog for everyone by going to the last step and clicking on Finish. A dialog requires your confirmation to publish the practice. And that's all. Now it appears in the catalog. Later you can quickly review your own practices by clicking on the My Practices button from the navigation panel. A list with your practices is shown and you can review or edit them by clicking on the icon on a certain row. If you have paused adding a phase at some step, it will also appear here within in Adding Phase section. When you click on this icon, you can continue with your practice and publish it later. As for editing an existing published practice, when you open the review page for it, you will see a number of buttons which enable you to edit certain information. Finally, let me introduce you the issue tracker of the catalog. It can be accessed by clicking on the issue tracker button from the main menu navigation. Its purpose is to provide an easy way to report any errors, ideas for improvement, or requests for help with the system. The list shows all the issues along with their status. After clicking on the back icon, you can review all information about a certain issue, as well as a comment from an administrator after dealing with the issue. To add a new issue, click on the Add New Issue button. A dialog window is shown. You have to write a title of the issue, choose its type, error, improvement, or request for help, and then provide a detailed description of the issue. Optionally, you can attach a file that should be useful for describing the situation, for example, a screenshot. Finally, click on the Save button to submit the form. It appears in the list of issues with status Open. When the issue is being processed, its status will be changed in the list. Thank you for watching this tutorial and I hope you found it useful.